Guys, welcome to Motorcycle MD's episode 3 of live Q&A, where I take people's questions that I get. I have so many at this point now that we got some good content. What's going on, Alex? I'm going to give a couple minutes for people to kind of filter in here. I'm also going to try to load this on my laptop so that I can maybe see your guys' questions when you hit them up on here. So, I don't know, but we'll see. The laptop is a completely different way. Oh, wait. I think I got it. Oh, awesome. I'm going to turn the volume off on that. Sweet. I'm also messing with, let me know if you guys can hear me, like my voice. I actually have a wireless mic now, thanks to the amazing donations from you guys to help make content better. So, if I can learn how to use it. Oh, I think I broke it. No, we're good. All right. Sorry if the feed goes out. Again, Wi-Fi in the shop is always weird. But, guys, the Motorcycle MD shirts are in. Like, check this out. I also wanted to get the emoji for that on there, but it would look stupid. But I got the gray ones in too, so tomorrow I have the day off, and which is amazing. And I will be spending the time getting that all set up for people to go ahead and get shirts, the people who wanted the shirts and whatnot. So I'm super pumped about that. Sorry, I'm just trying to get this all set up. I'm in a little bit different area of the shop, and I'm trying out a couple different new things with like the laptop so I can see everybody's comments and all that stuff. So, and now I can. I'm super stoked. I'm figuring this out, guys. I'm figuring it out. So, welcome to Motorcycle MD Live Q&A episode 3. This is going to be a carb-heavy live Q&A, which I don't expect it not to be. A lot of the questions I get are carb-heavy. I will do a tour of the shop one day, absolutely. But yeah, carb heavy Q&A. I have a lot of carb questions that I've been asked lately. I actually have way too many questions right now to even like get them all done, and I have way too many to even start sending. Because usually I was trying to send people out a message, say, "Hey man, check out the live Q&A. Your question's on there." But at this point, it's going to be show up and your question may be on there. So that will make it kind of cool. So maybe 5 or 6 questions I'm going to go through tonight. Again, carb heavy, carburation heavy. A lot of great carburation questions that I picked from the many. If you guys have any questions right now, I'm not going to answer them right now. Okay, so I'm going to go through the questions, and then I'm going to leave the floor open for you guys at the end, where I can then pull them up on my laptop, which I have right here, which is working perfectly. I'm super stoked about that. And then I'll be able to answer them and leave the floor open for some live questions. All right, so again, welcome. I am Cody from Motorcycle MD. I am red level certified in Honda. I've been doing this for about, with schooling and training, about 10 years. I'm a young gun, but I was mentored by some amazing people. I am mentored to this day by guys who've been doing it since the 60s. So my knowledge is ever growing, and I love old stuff. I love vintage stuff, but I also love the new stuff too. All right, so welcome. So the first question, thanks Northeast. I got some wireless equipment, which I'm super pumped about. It's awesome. All right, so let's get right into it, guys. I don't want to waste too much of your time. Episode 3, Ask MD Live Q&A. The first question is from Lewis from Costa Rica. What's going on, Lewis? 1986 Honda VT500. It's kind of a oddball bike. A lot of the 80s bikes are oddball. They made them in like maybe a year or two. If you're lucky, they made them in 3 or 4. But they're usually oddballs in the 80s. So we'll try to figure this out. He's got 40,000 miles, what I think is on there. He said, "Hey man, so I bought this bike as a project. Previous owner did not really take good care of it." Surprise. Lately, the bike feels under power, and when applying full throttle, the bike will almost die and then pick back up again. I am preparing to do a tune-up on the bike. I bought a Sigma 6 jet kit that I want to install. My questions are, I want to install new baffles. Should I wait until I install the jet kit, or can it be afterwards? Are there any procedures that I should be aware of during the tune-up to make sure I'm getting all the power I can get from the engine? A tune-up is a very, very broad word, all right? I get calls all the time. The shop gets calls all the time. And people say, hey, I just want to tune up. I want to bring my bike in. How much is it going to cost? And I'm not just like, there's no sign on the wall that says tune up this much money. There's always more to it. Certain mileages. So depending on what your tune-up is, Lewis, I would think a tune-up would be a full service. That's what I think off the top of my head. Valve adjustment, a carb sync, all fluids, air filter. That's my idea of a tune-up, but people like to pick and choose. Say, oh no, all I want is an oil change. That's my idea of a tune-up. So it sounds like you have a carb issue right off the bat. You're saying it's underpowered. It's probably running on one cylinder. One way to find out if it's actually running on both cylinders would be to let the bike cool down, so overnight, then start it up in the morning, and just kind of carefully, when it's idling, put one hand on the front cylinder, one hand on the rear cylinder, or the header pipes that are coming off of it. All right. If one is getting warmer a lot faster than the other one is, it's probably because that cylinder is running better than that rear cylinder or better than that front cylinder, vice versa. So that's a great trick. Or if you don't want to touch the pipes, that's cool. I don't ever suggest it when the bike is hot. You can grab some water in a spray bottle, spray it on whichever header you think is not firing, or just spray just to check it out. Front one, the water will evaporate into smoke, gone. The other one, the water will just kind of sit and hang on that header. It's a cold cylinder. It's a dead cylinder. So that's what I would check out first. If that's the case, it's probably carburation. All right. Hopefully it's carburation. Hopefully it's nothing more like a valve train issue or bad compression in that cylinder. But I wouldn't even go there. I mean, it really all depends. I'm trying to answer these to the best of my knowledge without even looking at the bike. But it sounds like it's carburation, man. So with your baffles, you're trying to install new baffles. I'm not sure if the language barrier is anything to do with this question. And I got something in my freaking nose. Sorry. I'm not sure if by baffles you mean like new mufflers, or if you're talking about you're going to put a brand new baffle inside of your muffler. So regardless, I would do what you want the bike, like what tune-up, or what modification you're going to do to the bike. I would do it before you mess with the carbs. Because as soon as you start messing with the carbs, you get it all right the way it is. You said I mean a new muffler. What's going on? Is that the same guy? Fernando? Maybe. Awesome. So if you mean a new muffler, I would put new muffler on there first and then make your carb adjustments. Because you're going to make all your carb adjustments how you either learn from the videos you watch or how I answer. Once you make all the adjustments, you're going to have to change them as soon as you put a new exhaust on there. So put your exhaust on there. If it's a more free-flowing exhaust, if it's not the stock original stuff, I would keep all of the stock jetting. I don't know what a Sigma 6 jet kit is, but I would actually keep all the stock jetting. So I would keep the stock idle. And the only thing that may change is that main jet. So they probably sent you an idle, a main jet, a new needle seat, a new this, a new that, a new spring, new all this stuff. Man, honestly, if you're just doing a new exhaust, it doesn't even need it. So, not to be the dead horse, it will not take much. I would keep the stock jetting and then maybe just put a shim underneath the needle. Check out my video on tuning exhaust for idle, mid-range, and wide open throttle. I have a video on my YouTube channel where I'm talking about shimming a main jet needle, and that may be all you need to do. Pay very close attention that when you have those carbs apart, that your main jet sizes may be different. Okay? The bigger main jet size, so if you have like a 180 on the front cylinder and a 185 on the rear, it's for that. It's like that for a purpose. So make sure that the bigger main jet goes on the rear cylinder. The rear cylinder gets hotter than the front. They use that to help cool the cylinder down. That's a great tip to have for any V-twin that Honda puts out. Some of them they do, some of them they don't, but it's good to look forward to, or it's good to look forward to looking to, whatever. So that's my best advice for that. I'm gonna move on from that one. That one's a loaded question, but I hope that helps you out. And if you're gonna do a valve adjustment, make sure you have a manual, all right, and make sure you know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, then I would just recommend meeting someone who does, or taking it to a shop. Question 2. Hope you guys are having a good time. This one's from Cody G in Richmond, VA. Very, very close to here. Actually, I mean, it's close. I'm in Norfolk, Virginia. But awesome place. He's got a Honda Shadow. He didn't really care about the mileage or mods. He said, I'd be curious to hear your opinion on hydraulic clutches versus mechanical clutches, benefits and drawbacks of each. Are there easy ways to convert one to the other? No, there is not an easy way to convert one towards the other. One requires way more parts. Hydraulic clutch system requires brake fluid, requires a clutch master cylinder, requires clutch hydraulic lines like your brake lines, requires a slave cylinder to then react to that master cylinder, requires a lot of stuff. All right, the cable style mechanical clutch systems are super basic. They're super basic. I think that the hydraulic clutch system is there because it can react to more pumping pressure to open up clutches better than a cable clutch could, which is operating off of like a levered mechanism, if that makes sense. So hydraulic fluid cannot be compressed. Brake fluid cannot be compressed. Something will break before hydraulic fluid gets compressed. So the clutch master cylinder stuff, I think it works great on bigger bikes. Like you wouldn't see a mechanical clutch lever on a Goldwing 1800. You just wouldn't see it because you can put way more pressure down the line to the clutch basket with a hydraulic clutch. I'm sure somebody in this world has went from a hydraulic to a manual clutch cable with making something. Is it easy to do? No. Have I ever seen it? No. Would I advise it? No. I mean, it's just the location of everything is way different. You probably can't do it, honestly, because you got clutch rods that run all the way through the motor to a slave cylinder when you have a cable system that runs straight to a rod, which is actually pivoting on the clutch basket itself. So, I mean, it's probably not possible, but that's my 2 cents on that. Question 3 from Dan Bagley. In short, it's an 84 VT500. Man, I'm getting a lot of 500 VT500 questions. In short, purchased the bike and was sitting. Fired up but only idled, hit gas and it would quit. I used Seafoam and it got the bike revving, etc., but not running properly. Bike once shut off is hard to restart. So after it's been hot and he shuts it off, it's harder to restart than it was when it wasn't, is what it sounds like. But after sitting, it starts right up. When it's cold, it starts right up. Also, throttle surge at 3/4 throttle, or when attempting to accelerate fast at high RPM. I cleaned the carbs out with Honda cleaner and replaced one pilot jet as it looked bad. Reassembly started right up, but now still hard to restart right away and surges still. Cleaned airbox and new filter. Any suggestion on where to start? I have 3 kids, no money to pay a mechanic. I am mechanically savvy, but just not good with tuning. Help, brother. You have a carburation issue still. I'm not sure how you cleaned it with the Honda cleaner. I'm going to tell you guys right now, carburation and cleaning carburetors is more involved than what you think. Okay, there's guys on the internet who say, yeah, if you just have common sense and one tool, you're good to go. It's more involved than you could ever imagine to get it properly cleaned right. Okay, I'm not saying that you can't do it. I'm just saying that you need to think logically about when you clean your carbs. If you take a carburetor, okay, I don't have one near me. Actually, I do. I have, here you go. Yeah. Here's 4. Okay, you take a carburetor, take your bowls off right here, and just take some spray and spray your carburetor down and clean the outside and the exterior and clean up here and do this and clean the throats of there and maybe spray some WD-40 on it. You've literally done nothing to the carbs. Literally. You have to take, for instance, this 4 set of carbs. To clean these properly, everything has to come off. Everything has to come off. Every screw, every carb circuit, everything has to come off to be done properly. All right? That's why it's so freaking expensive at a shop. Either they're charging way too much, or it's because it actually takes a lot of time. Like a set of carbs like these is easily on a bike almost $800. Because I mean, it's not that we just charge out the butt and we're just taking people's money. It's because it takes so much time, man, and our time is worth the money, especially when it comes to stuff like this, because we do it right. So if you're cleaning the carb out, you need to make sure that you're not just spraying the carb down with a cleaner. You need to take everything out of it, inspect everything, go through everything. Take a wire brush that you got to clean your grill with, pull a wire out of it, which is a great tool to have. Put it in a pair of needle nose pliers and run it through every orifice. Take carburetor cleaner, spray it through every single hole that you see to make sure that it exits somewhere. All right, all that stuff matters, man. And it's not as simple as people may make it out to be. And when it comes to dirty carbs, especially from the 80s, sinking them in some kind of solution, sinking, is that the best word to use? Putting them in some kind of solution that is heated, that is a cleaner, that maybe you can put it on the stove. I'm not sure what people are doing nowadays. There's like chem dips out there that you can buy. Very corrosive stuff, but it works great. Be careful with it. But heating up, distilled water with a floor cleaner or a Palmolive. I use I don't know if Palmolive is the right word. Pine Sol. That's what I'm looking for. Pine Sol. I use an ultrasonic tank. It's a super expensive tank that does what it's supposed to do, and it has literally changed the game when it comes to carb cleaning. But I'm rambling now. But you need to clean the carbs out properly. I'm not sure exactly how you did that. They need to come apart completely. Every jet, every emulsion tube, every mixture pilot, but the only thing that you won't need to do is if they are a V-twin style carb, you won't need to split them. Not on that model, you won't. Okay? On this model, on the Nighthawk model, you do have to split them. But that won't be necessary. But so yeah, your problem starting after it's hot. Sorry, I kind of rambled on that and ranted, but you could potentially have a bad starter. I dealt with I think it was like a VF. Man, I can't remember. Like it was like a VF 700 or something like that, a VT 700. I don't remember what Honda made. It was like an 84 something. But he had the exact same problem. He'd run it. It would start beautifully. He would take off to the mountainside to go and capture the princess from the castle. And when he'd go to fill up with gas, it would not start back up. Rode beautifully, no issues. Starter would turn, nothing would happen. It is typically a starter issue. Your starter has so much drag, so much resistance on it when it's trying to turn it over when it's hot, that it's robbing electricity from the coils, if that makes sense. That is my educated guess on your problem when it comes to hot starts. So yeah, that's my best way to put it. So let's go on to the next question. Target, similar to saying Shane Conley. Shane Conley is an awesome guy, and shout out to him. I try to stay in contact with him a lot. He's a great dude. I got a chance to talk with him for a long time on the phone, and he is also an awesome guy, an awesome howtowrench.com. Shout out to Shane Conley. He's a great dude. So, next question. You're right, Alex. Question 5 from Chase. He's got a 01 Honda Shadow. He's from Farmington, Maine, so way up north. A Shadow VT 600. So this is like a VLX, what we call them. 18,000 miles. Mods is a Ragged Mountain Ski Patrol. I have no idea what that is. Okay, so moving on. After sitting for a week, the bike was hard to start. After running on high idle for a few minutes, it was running fine. After about 40 miles of riding, the engine suddenly stalled out in 4th gear. It was hard to get started again, and it continues to stall out in 4th gear. The bike runs fine in gears 1 through 3. What sort of things could be causing this, and is there anything I can do about it outside of the shop? Thanks. Great question. I dealt with a 600 about a year and a half ago, and he had a similar problem. I'm so glad I'm blessed to be able to recall this information, and I'm not like brain dead. So the 600 issue was a fuel pump problem, okay? And reason being is once he got up into those higher gears, 4th gear, 5th gear, and it was putting a lot of strain on the motor. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that has a fuel pump. I'm almost positive it does. The VT600 2001. But get up into the higher RPMs, all right, when the motor is starving and a lot more vacuums going through the motor, a lot more pressure, a lot more low volume, all that stuff, gas. And the pump, after over years of time of being used, is not able to pump as much volume as it could when it was new. All right, he put a Amazon special deal clearance rack $6.99 fuel pump in it, and it was garbage. I have a bucket full of those fuel pumps to prove that to you. Okay, the Amazon fuel pumps that you put in your bike are not worth the money. Yes, you can buy 20 of them and replace them and spend the time and the effort of replacing them as many times as you want, and maybe still save money from not buying the Honda one, but the Honda one has gotten you this far, or gotten the bike that far. Hopefully. Said it had 18,000 miles on it. I would love to see a bike do another 18,000 with no issues. Alright, so the fuel pump, from my educated guess, is trying to help out. The fuel pump could potentially be the problem. Because it's not getting the fuel pumped in volume to the carbs that it should when you're putting that much load on the motor. And it takes a while for it to start up because the pump's like boom, 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 and finally pumps enough to the carbs where you can actually use it. First, second, third, boom, cuts out because it can't pump as fast as you are using the throttle. I'm sure it would idle, once you got it idling, I'm sure it would idle and run first and second all day long. But once you get up into that time where it needs to be pumping constantly like this is when it's failing. All right, so great question. And that answer is good for the 1100. Same way. VF 750 or 700, the V45 or whatever, the fuel pumps, same way. Any fuel pump besides like the newer electronic style ignition systems, besides the newer PGMFI systems like the Goldwing and stuff like that, that's how they will typically respond. The newer stuff, it just won't even work. I take that back. I had a CBR 1000 RR. Side story. This is a pretty crazy story. All right. CBR 1000 RR, fully built. I mean, like ported head, all this stuff. Great, great customer of mine. And he brought his bike to me all the time. And he was like, look, bro, at what did he say? He said, at 130, the bike is just falling on its face. And I was like, God dang, that means I gotta go and ride this thing 130 miles an hour to figure it out. And he was like, yeah, man, like as soon as you hit 130 and you rip the throttle again, it just goes whoa and falls on its face. And I was like, crap. So I took it out. Sure enough, that's exactly what it did. It was scary to do it, but that's exactly what it did. So what I did was I hooked a LED light, and this is after hours of trying to think of what I could do and doing pump tests and all this stuff. Hooked the LED light strip, a very, very low signal strip, and I taped it to the gas tank. I wired that into the fuel cut relay, all right, and the fuel pump wires. So it should be lit all the time. That light should stay lit because the fuel pump is pumping, and it's saying I'm getting power to pump when I want or when I need to. 130 hit, boom, light shut off, boom, died right out. Long story short, I replaced both units, the fuel cut relay, which was not expensive, as well as the fuel pump. I took the bike back out again. Fuel pump, that's how the fuel pump was responding. That heavy load at that 130, it was not giving it enough to the motor. I hit that 130, hit it again, boom, front end stood up. Whoa! Scared the piss out of me. Going already that fast, which is not hard to do on a 1000, but then hitting it and the front end just starting to rise up. I said, well, it's fixed, and took it right back to the shop and then gave it back to him. Sorry for the rant. So fuel pumps, they can do all kinds of funny stuff. Number 6, Dan from Canada, 81 CB650C. We're at 27 minutes. Oh, we're making good time, good time. He said, me again, which I don't really remember, 33,000 miles on a CB650C. Me again. Going to apologize for the long-winded question. I've been having a leak issue with my carb since I got the bike. All 4 throats are pissing gas. Literally pissing gas. I did have one broken float, so I did replace that. Still no change. With the plastic floats, I don't see any way to adjust the heights. One thing I have diagnosed is with the carb attachment to the fuel line, I took off number 1 bowl and held the float up, it stopped leaking. Is this an issue with the needle, or is there further digging I need to do? I didn't get any further with the taking each bowl off separately. Attached garage and the fumes get in the house. Understood. All right, so this is a great question, and this is what I'm going to tell you to do. Okay. All right, Dan. You need to get a float level gauge. You can get them from Motion Pro. You can get them from Amazon. You can get them from anywhere your heart desires. Get a float level gauge that measures in metric. All right, obviously you have a metric bike. Figure out what your float level is supposed to be, which I can look up for you if you email me back again, or if you already know. You need to measure that float level with the carbs in the bike. Take all the bowls off the bike, okay? All the bowls. If you can, take a towel and just shove it up underneath the bowls, but then leave the one carb that you're going to be checking free to flow, all right? I mean, don't when I mean shove it, don't take the towel and ram it in there and then bend and break all your plastic parts. I'm saying just put the towel in there to hold up the floats, okay? So they're shut, so you know they're shut. And you can do that for each individual carb as you work down the line, diagnosing which float is leaking at the proper level. You set the float level gauge to the level that yours should be. I have a video on it, how to check float level gauge, or how to check float level, or something like that. And diagnose each one, man. It's probably what the problem is. It's probably going to be a float needle problem. So not the float itself, but a float needle. All right, either the seat that it's sitting into is dirty, it's like a brass seat, or the float valve is bad. All right, and when you use that float, just watch the video. If you watch the video, it'll explain that. But that's what I would do. Check each individual one, and that will. Yeah, I'm almost positive you will find your problem when you do that. All right. So, let's see. That's 6 questions. That's all I'm gonna do. That was a lot of time answering them. Thank you guys for hanging out this long. 30 minutes in, I'll probably do maybe 15, 20 more minutes. I don't want to make this an hour-long thing. It's a lot of time. So if you have any questions that are burning right now, go ahead and ask me. I can pull them up on my laptop and see what you're going in or what you're asking, and I mean we can go from there. So Andrew Gonchara, I'm sorry, man. Andrew. I have a 95 Honda Magna 750 and I'm dealing with some backfire when I decelerate. I saw your video on Welch plugs. However, upon inspection, my carb couldn't. Upon inspecting I can't read English. Upon inspecting my carb, I couldn't find them. Is there a different spot? So on the ones on the Magna, on the one on the video you probably watched were on the sides. Okay. On the Magna, they're more than likely under. So, you see these carbs? So these carbs would sit in the bike like this, all right? Here's the engine right here. Here's the airbox right here. Here's the bowls right here. If you look underneath the bowls, there's actually adjustments for each one. That's a power adjustment right there. That is a fuel adjuster. There, and there. So look underneath the carb on the bottom. If you have a mirror, stick it down in there and look up. You may see like a D-shaped what's the freaking word? It's a screw that's like not hanging out like this. That's not hanging out. It's kind of recessed. That's the word. It's recessed into the hole. Okay, so that's an external, almost, I guess is the best way to put it, adjuster. Yours may be internal, and it may be down the same exact place, maybe up front here or up there, but it may be like recessed inside of a tunnel. No big deal. Look and see if it's flathead screw or a D-shape. If it's D-shaped, you need to order a special tool to adjust that. All right, that's a great question. Mr. Dirty Deeds, how often do you do live shows? I just started this new thing where I do a live Q&A of questions I get in my email, which are lots, every Monday at 8:30. Okay, easy question. Did you touch on my Magna I emailed you about problem with the white smoke? I joined late. I didn't see any question about with the white smoke. I'm sorry, Mr. Jarvis. I did get lots and lots of questions, so yours may be answered in the next week's. I just can't go through all of them all at once, but I tell you I have tons of content built up for you guys. We'll never run out of this. You're welcome, Andrew. So Wombat Moto, how do you feel about everyone putting modern forks on old bikes? Wombat, I think it's freaking sweet. I think it's cool, man. I mean, I'm all for, like, I can appreciate custom work and modifications until the cows come home, man. If you figure it out, I would love to read up on it and see how, how they're figuring out geometry and how they're doing this and that and the other. But I think it's really cool. I don't think the frames can take what they're doing to them, like on if you put like a sport bike front end on a CL 450. The frame can't take that, man. Because you're gonna want to dive into it real hard, but the frame will start flexing and all this crazy stuff. So I think it's awesome. I think it looks cool on some bikes. I think it's overkill on others, but I am not a guy who is against modifying bikes as long as the bike was junk when you got it. That's the key. So Simplex said, "Hey Cody, Larry here, 78 400T, the non-automatic version. Leaking gas from one carb drain screw. Drain screw is new. If the seat is bad. How can this be fixed? If the seat is bad, one good trick that I like to do is to take a piece of very, very, very fine steel wool. I'm talking like hashtag 4O steel wool, and run it, make it into like a little bullet, and just shove it up in the hole where the float needle goes. Take a little, very, very small flathead screwdriver, and then just lightly just brush it, man. Just spin that screwdriver, because it will grab onto that steel wool. So just lightly spin it, man, and it will buff that seat beautifully. If you don't want to do that, you can put polishing compound on a Q-tip and just run the Q-tip up, polish it, and then spray it back down, because you want to spray it back. So you're not like spraying up with contact cleaner to get all your crap out of there. Spray it where the fuel line goes and flush it all back down. That's a great way to clean the seat. Let's see if I can catch up with this. Vibration on shadow, 600 handlebars. Vibration on shadow, 600 handlebars at 45, 65 mile an hour. Check spoke tightness, check wheel balance, take the wheel off, check to make sure that the tire's not worn out, and check the risers. The risers that go into the crown, they may be like a rubber style grommet, like on my CL here. They have rubber grommets that go in, and look, there they are right here. What do you know? These things, hard as a rock. All right, they don't absorb vibration very much. But if you have a serious vibration, I would check balance, check all that stuff in the front end, wheel bearings, balance, spokes, and see what's going on with that. Nathan just said 750 VTX 5, no juice, won't start, new battery. Mo Irv 04 VTX 5K miles. Or 5 kilometers, whatever that is, no juice, won't start, new battery. No juice as in no spark, or no juice as in it won't fire? I'd love to help you with that. I just don't know. Have you tried hitting it with starter fluid? No spark. Who is Lane Staley? Dude, you remind me of Lane Staley. I'll have to Google it. Mo, no spark. VTX with no spark. VTX with no spark. VTX with no spark. I would check. You haven't got spark on either of the cylinders? No spark. Either of the cylinders, front or rear. That's surprising. No light at all. Dude, I would say, shoot. I wish I had one here. I would say it could be a starter button issue, believe it or not, or a kill switch problem. I can't remember if those start with the kill switch off or not. I mean, like, if you can turn it through with the kill switch off. I can't remember. But if you have no spark to either of the cylinders, I would also look into the pulse generator. Okay? Pulse generator sends a signal to both of the coils to tell it to spark. So anytime I've seen that happen is when there's no spark. It's highly unlikely to be the ECU unless it was struck by lightning or set on fire. ECUs are they're very well built nowadays. It's not like the 80s. So yeah. Let's see. My wife is actually chiming in. Yeah, I got to that one already, babe. Thanks for sending me that. I'm actually on top of it. You'd be super proud of me because I have my laptop here, and I can see everybody's questions. So I got this. So yeah, about 5 more minutes. We'll make this a 45-minute long session. 45 minutes, and we will keep on rolling. Any more questions from you guys? Let me see what else I have that I might have missed. Keep on reading. Won't start, no juice. Already read that one. Sounds pretty good. Wrestles a lot. Bro, you are the GOAT of motorcycle tutorials. Keep up the awesome video. You are the GOAT. That's awesome. That is awesome. I'm going to read one more from my email list, alright? Unless you guys start chiming in, which I'm sure you will. Let me pull it up. So let's see if I can get to one. Who's your bike set for a year? So I was thinking plans for the AirPods and box set phone. Is there a required returning? Alright, so Pete Cordaro, he's got a 96 750 Honda Nighthawk, one of my favorite bikes from Honda. I actually, at one point I had 3 of them. Now I'm down to 2. Carbs cleaned and rejetted. I bought the bike after it sat for 1 year. The slow idle jets seem to be clogged. I also plan to add AirPods and remove the airbox, as well as a header 4-into-1. Excuse me, I'm sorry. As well as a 4-into-1 pipe, probably Vans and Hines. Will it require rejetting? Great question, Pete. Yes, it will require rejetting. How that is done is what's the more difficult part to answer. Okay, there are 20 ways to skin a cat, and you're tapping into 10 of them. So they sell like the jet kits, like Dynajet sells a stage 1 kit and all this stuff. I tried it. It didn't work. Alright, I freaking spent the money on Dynajet. Even though I knew how to tune carbs, I just want to try it out. I want to try it out. I didn't put 4-to-1 pipes, but I have 4-inch velocity stacks. The bike's over there. I would show you it. I'll show you it another night. 4-inch velocity stacks, aluminum velocity stacks with pod filters on it. And I didn't use a Dynajet kit. I used the stock idles and bumped the main jets up like 20. And then I put shims underneath the main jet needle. Boom! Hits like a rocket. Runs awesome. Did I buy a jet kit? Yes, I did. Did I use it? I used the main jets out of it. Actually, no, I didn't. I didn't use the main jets out of it because they gave me smaller main jets with like this super crazy slide needle. So there are some jet kits that give you certain things, man, but it's going to need to be rejetted. I'm not sure where you're located at. I'm in Norfolk at sea level. If you're over in like freaking Colorado, then it's going to be way different, you know. But my advice would be to keep stock idles, increase the needle up with a shim. Check out my videos on that, and go like 15 up, like 10, 15 up on the main, and then keep going from there and see how that responds. So that's it. Wait. 1 more minute. What time is it? How long is this? Oh, we got time. Okay. Tyler, having problems keeping my valve guide seals staying on my CB350F. Any help would be appreciated. Great Q&A. Tyler, having a problem keeping my valve guide seals staying on. It's probably because they're aftermarket. Valve guide seals. So you are referencing, you have your valve guide, you have your valve that runs inside of your valve guide, and you have a seal that runs on a very external part of the valve guide, which you can actually see if you take the springs off. 350 motor, 350 motor, 350 motor, 350 motor. Yeah. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but exhaust is 5mm. Yeah, they're probably aftermarket, man, and it's. I wish I had a better way of answering this. I haven't run into that problem yet because I don't do many 350 rebuild motors, but they probably had like a very like a clip or like a piece of safety wire that wraps around the seal that goes over the guide. If they're aftermarket or you got the wrong ones, for like a 450 or something like that, no, the 450 wouldn't have them. Man, I wish I knew how to answer your question better. I would just check the safety wire around the seal. Maybe the aftermarket company that you went with to order the gasket set is not very good. I've run into that problem a lot. I rebuilt 350 back away like about a year or two ago, and I got a gasket set, and like I could only use like some of the stuff because it was just weird. Like the O-rings were just off, and they were like too thick, or it was weird. So potentially try a different valve guide set. I'm not sure where you bought them from. I know a good company. Shout out to Common Motor. I bought in some stuff from them. I trust them. Common-motor.com, and they specialize in 350 and 450 stuff. Bought from 4into1. 4into1 is a reputable site. I would try a different seal. I mean, there's no other, unless your guide is worn out, I would try a different seal. I mean, there's no way, there's nothing that I've done that I can tell you, hey, this worked, I put another wire around it, or I super glued it. I can't tell you anything that I know that I've worked. I know that it should fit, it should not fall off, and I would try a different brand. Okay? So, that's it, guys. 47 minutes in. You guys are awesome, and thank you so much for everything. Thank you for hanging out with me and the questions you got, and hopefully I can shed some light. Hopefully other people are gaining value from here. You're welcome, Tyler. Hopefully other people are getting value from the questions that you're asking. That's the whole goal. But tomorrow I have the day off, and I will be spending all of my time setting up inventory for these shirts. Okay? Got heavy metal gray. Alright, they're so soft, dude. I mean, so soft. I have gray ones, I got black ones like these, and I got a lot of sizes. So I'm going to be setting it up. My mic's falling down. And getting that ready for you guys to start purchasing. If you feel called to support Motorcycle MD, it'd be awesome to see people wearing these shirts, man. But I'm working on some more videos. I hope you guys enjoyed the last video I put out. It was a quick one. It might have been dumb to some people, but I just want to get some kind of content out there. But I'm working on more stuff tomorrow. I rarely get days off, and I'm super pumped to be able to work on the website tomorrow on my day off. So I'll be working on some videos, working on some more products to come out, and thank you guys so much for everything. Cody from Motorcycle MD. Bringing you guys quality tips for your questions and your answers. Professional quality tips. See you guys next Monday. I'm out. Later.